All right, I think it's fine. My power was fluctuating, so. Okay, so yes, so we have to find ways of designing experiences, learning experiences in flexible ways. So we prepare the learning environment using some means and methods and materials that allow learners to, or that try to meet the categories, I mean the various categories of learners that we have. And then so in UDL, we talk about what we call equity. So it's not about equality. No, we are not providing one approach for everybody, but we try to do what we call equity. So in that case, you manipulate things in such a way that the person who is disadvantaged will have almost the same equal ability or the equal access to your learning resources and the assessment and all that. So UDL is all about equity. Prior to the advent of technologies, we used to look at mostly equality. So what we are doing is that we provide the same teaching to everybody, the same assessment, and we can see that it's just not even fair. Even your location, normally, like in the secondary schools like this, you have some endowed secondary schools, and then those in the villages who don't even have teachers, they don't have the resources, and yet they go to write the same exam, the same WAS. So some people are already disadvantaged. So when they are not performing, it's not because they don't know or they are stupid. It's just that you haven't provided equity. Some are already advantaged, so they are moving forward, and then those that are disadvantaged, you have not tried to cater for them. So these days, what we are now trying to look at is that whilst there are technologies, let's see how best we can design our instruction in such a way that we can have equity. So that if you have a disability in something, then it shouldn't disadvantage you, but you should be able to have the same experience, just like somebody who has all the other advantages. So UDL has come with some principles. Now, like I said, the principles are based on research into the cognitive sciences or how the human brain works. Let's not go into that anyway, but it's just to tell us how all these things came about. So people are into the research into neurosciences, how our brains function. They have sectioned the human brain into several parts, and the way the brain works, but the brain is the most complex system you can think of. But with all the research that have been done so far, we still understand just about 10% of how the brain works. So there's just too much that is going on in the brain, such that we are not even able to. But scientists have tried to section the brain, to put the brain into various sections and try to understand how these receive and process information. So we have, this one. So we have the principles, and then the principles are we have what we call the recognition networks. That is, there's part of the brain that recognizes information. So when you present information to the person, is if you have experienced something before, and then you have some information stored in your memory. The next time you see something like that, you are able to recognize it. And then we have what we call the affective networks. That's the part that processes why. Why am I doing this? And then there's a part that looks at the strategic networks. That's what we call so we have the recognition, the affective, and then the strategic networks. But like I said, let's not delve too much into this, but it gives us a brief background or understanding of how the brain processes information and how, as instructors or teachers, we try to find ways. So as individuals, we develop, in fact, the individual brain is more like your fingerprint. Every individual has a different way the brain works. So some, of course, we all know there are some people who are good at maths, there are some people who are good at remembering figures, others good at languages, and so on. So all these are because the brain is structured differently for everybody. So this is the fundamental thing that that goes to tell us that, when it comes to teaching, we should not try to do the one size fits all. Present content the same way to everybody, and we expect everybody to grasp it the same way. So these three ways of receiving and processing information informed the principles that UDL talks about. So we have what to learn, what are you learning, or what is the content? So what are you going to learn? So that is the representation. So the UDL has a principle called representation. So there are three of them. And then why? So that's the engagement. And then how, what we call action and expression. Now, so the content or what to learn is just what you present to your learners or your students. But then the learners should understand why they are learning it, else they will not get engaged. So I mean, if I just start teaching things that are totally irrelevant, maybe you might listen, but to actively engage in the learning process, if you don't really understand why you are learning it for, it's very difficult to get engaged in it, especially when it comes to adults. For children, most of the times they don't really appreciate a lot of things. So you can try to push some things, but when it comes to adults, they need to understand why they are learning something, else they wouldn't even bother themselves engaging in it. And then the how is now how they express or the actions they take. Are they going to read? Are they going to write? Are they going to do simulations or role play and all that? So the expression and even the assessment aspect of it. So there is now how you express the learning processes. So UDL has these principles that, based on what I just talked about, the neurological aspect of the brain, then we have these three principles. So we'll just go briefly over the principles. Now, the first one talks about the representation. So the first principle of representation is talked about the what of learning. What are we going to learn? Is it going to be, if it is maths, what are we going to do today? If it's language, what aspect are we going to do? So that the what is normally what the teacher, of course, you have to prepare that. You have to know what you are going to teach. And that's where, you need to present the content. So how do you now present that content in such a way that you can satisfy your learners? And so we'll come to look at that. So that's the representation. And then the second one is the engagement, which is the why of learning, how to get people interested, motivated, to engage, to persist in the learning process, self-regulation, and all that. And then the third one is the action and an expression. Now, these are not mutually exclusive things. Of course, they overlap. The way the brain works is not one after the other, but it works together all at the same time. But this is how the scientists have so far, how they've managed to try to understand how, as humans, we appreciate or we receive content and how we express it. Of course, in normal life, we all know. I mean, if you are walking and then you see maybe a snake, the expression, how will you react? Your reaction will depend on the perception you have about it. In fact, if you've never known what it is or you've never heard of it, I mean, if you see it, most probably like a child might not might see a snake and not react in a way that an adult would, because a child doesn't yet understand what a snake can do. But you, the adult, once you have the understanding, then there's an expression. You either try to kill it or you run away or something. So that's in the same way when it comes to learning. If you already know something and now you are going to express it, there are different ways. And that's what we're talking about. So what we call the executive function, how you regulate yourself, your mental skills, the physical actions, the emotions, and all that. So those are the expressions that So at the end of the day, if we are doing an instruction or we are designing an instruction, how do we want our learners to express the learning processes or the learning outcomes? And so these are the three main principles. And under these principles, we have what we call guidelines. Now, these guidelines are the ones that as instructors, we adopt or we try to implement and apply in our processes. So the guidelines are steps that we can follow to design the course that will cater for all categories of learners. And of course, they offer some suggestions. It's applicable across all domains. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be applied in this or that, but it's applicable across all domains. So the first is the representation. The representation principle, that principle states that in presenting your content, you should provide multiple and flexible options to give learners various ways to perceive and comprehend the information. So what we're saying here is that when you are presenting the content, don't just use one mode, just like we used to do. Like even in the classroom, we have the oral, we talk, and then we write. Most lectures, especially in the social sciences and the arts, what the lecturers mostly were doing was just talking. All they do is they come and read their notes. And that's just one way because we'll look at what we call the VAC learning styles. So that principle of representation is saying that let's provide the content in multiple ways. And so as you can see for this course, apart from the live lectures that we have, we also have videos that we record of the lectures, because some people might not follow all what is happening live. And so if there's a video, you can always play back. If something you don't get, you can pause it or reverse it, go back and then go over again. So the video gives, so people who are not fast at catching what is being said, you are giving them the opportunity to go over and over until they understand. Then there's the audio aspect, and then we can even have text, interactive texts, and other things. And we do this because we have what we call learning styles. But I'm sure some of you would have covered this already. We have what we call the VAC learning styles, one of the popular ways of looking at how people learn. We have what we call the visual learners. So they are better at visualizing things. So they would want to see things in graphics, and they can express themselves graphically much more than other ways. There are oral learners, those who listen, and then they are fine. They can understand everything. And there are those who need to read and write. But there are some people, if they are learning, the only best way to learn something is to write it down. I think I can say that I mostly belong to that category of learners, because even if I'm going into town to buy something, if I don't write it down, I have a list of things to buy. If I don't write them down, by the time I get to town or to the market, I would have forgotten most of them. Now, but if I write it down, the interesting thing is that when I get to the market, I won't even look at what I've written down. I'll still remember what I wrote, because once you write it, now you are able to, you can remember. So there are people like that who need to write it before they can remember. Others will listen and they are fine. Others need to do. So the kinesthetic learners are those who want to do hands-on activities before they can clearly grasp certain things. So we call this the VAC learning styles. In fact, there are even a whole lot of questions. You can answer this. Let me see. So over the years, people have done the research, and we have this set of questions that you can use to assess the learning style of yourself or your students. Let me see. Yeah, the questionnaire. So it's called there are different types of questionnaire here. VAC questionnaire. So these are the way the questions are. So depending on which one you select, the system will process the information and can tell you your preferred learning style. Now, mostly we're not saying that they are not the fact that you are visual doesn't necessarily mean that totally visual. I mean, it's just that that is more your preferred style. So the back questionnaire. So if you look at I want to find out more about a tour that I'm going on, I would read about it, talk to somebody about it, look at details. So if you answer these questions, I mean, which you mostly prefer to do? Yeah, they're not saying answer all of them. Yeah. So at the end of it, if you submit this, it will tell you your preferred learning style. Now you can do. Sometimes we use this with some students that we are not familiar with. So if you go into an environment that you are not too familiar with the culture, the students, and other things, the best thing is to always try to find out from your students their preferred learning styles, and then you can try to work around that to see how best you can accommodate the various kinds of or the various categories of students in your class. So we call it the VAC learning styles because people have their different strengths and other things. So the principle of representation is saying that in presenting the content, don't just write on the board or display PowerPoint, but add other things. So add video, add audio, because now we have the technology, they are all there. You don't need to be a guru in these things. Most of them are easy to use. I mean, we have been using, people use Facebook and WhatsApp and do a whole lot of wonders with them. You can record your videos, you can record audio, and so on and so on. So these are the kind of things that we are talking about. So in representation, we are saying that because the learners differ in the way they perceive and comprehend the information presented to them, we need to adopt that approach. So there are some people who have sensory disabilities, that's visual or hearing impairment, learning disabilities, dyslexic. I mean, the dyslexics are the ones who have language issues. They are not able to express themselves in the language. Even cultural differences, you need to bear in mind the cultural differences. Cultural differences, because there are certain things in your culture that you expect or you know everybody knows. I remember I was teaching a group of students. There were some Nigerians in there, and then I was using some phrases that commonly we use in Ghana here. Oh, I forgot exactly what I was using. Yeah. So, and because all the Ghanaians understood what I was talking about, but I forgot that there were, Nigerians in the class who, did not know what I was. Even it's a popular thing in Ghana here that we all, use them, and then we use them in our language. But then once you have other people from different cultures in there, now you need to try to accommodate, people like that. So I think, I was mentioning an example like pure water. Yeah. So the people selling pure water on the streets. Now, the lady just says pure. Now, so if it's not the same in other countries. If you go to Nigeria and say pure, it probably will not make sense. So, but if you are using examples like that, then you just say, oh, you wanted to buy pure water. But the first place, if you say pure water, people get confused. I mean, what do you mean by pure water? And all that. So things that you need to be culturally sensitive. And then when it comes to issues like colors and other things, colors also have different meanings in different cultures. And so sometimes we need to be a bit careful. In fact, most of these industrial giants like Toyota, and they have learned a whole lot of lessons, because when you try to advertise your product in another country and you are not careful, you might end up maybe offending their sensibilities based on the language you are using, the colors you are using, and so on. There are a whole lot of examples like that. I mean, if there's time, we can look at, how people have had to spend a whole lot of money changing things because they didn't take into consideration the various cultural differences of their customers or their clientele. So representation, you need to be very careful with how you can get all your learners or get all of them on board. Now, the principle of engagement, which is the second one, also says you should infuse multiple ways to motivate the learners. So you need to find ways of motivating learners. Some learners are highly engaged spontaneously, others are mostly disengaged or even frightened. In fact, if you are dealing with the kids at the lower levels, you always see this. There are some very hyperactive children, and then there are others who are, normally mostly disengaged. And you, as the instructor, you need to find ways of engaging all of them. And then you can design instruction in such a way that, because if you are just, in fact, most of the times at the university level, like lectures, but after the first 20 minutes, but the research has shown, if you are just doing a lecture, pure lecture, just standing there talking, after 20 minutes, the attention span of all your listeners drops significantly. But these days that we have phones, you realize that most people start to look at their phones and other things. They don't even listen to you. If others are listening to you, they are probably just dozing off and all that. So a direct lecture, some people might be motivated to keep listening, but a lot of people will just get disengaged. And so you need to find ways of engaging or getting the learners to get engaged. And so there are multiple ways of doing that as well. So some would want to work alone. Some students prefer studying on their own. Others prefer to work with peers. In fact, in some cases, there are some students, unless they are working with their colleagues, they learn more from their colleagues than from the teachers. Or they will always prefer to work with their peers. So we need to bear that in mind. But it's not one way, just like the representation aspect. There's no one way that you can use to engage everybody. So what it means here is that you cannot just do one thing and expect, like if we say, maybe do group work, you don't expect all the students to get engaged at the same time. In fact, group work is one of the most difficult things when it comes to learners because of group dynamics. You put 2 or 3 people in a group, there are issues. Some people don't like others, and so they have difficulty working with them. Others would prefer to work alone and all that. So people who enjoy working in groups should be given the opportunity to work in groups. Those who want to work alone should also have that opportunity. Those who want to watch videos or create videos and other things, those who want to do, so you need to give the users the different ways or different approaches that you can get them engaged. And so let me see, before I come to engage there are some tools. Okay, I'll come to this. Okay. All right, so the third principle is the action and expression. So we have the presentation, the engagement, and then the action and expression. So again, create multiple pathways, to demonstrate, for learners to demonstrate their understanding of the new knowledge, skills, and abilities. So multiple pathways. We know that when our previous, we still do that anyway. The exam was the only way of assessing learners. In fact, these days even better. Those of us who went through the older system, you took the whole course the entire year. So first term, second term, third term, and then at the end of the third term, you now write your exam. And that exam assesses all what you have done throughout the year. And that exam is used as the only yardstick to judge your ability to understand the learning content. And you can see it's just not fair because some people get frightened of exams. When it comes to exams, they might know everything. They might, they can explain it if they are talking with their friends. But once you create the exam condition, then they panic and they're not able to perform well. And then we use that against them. So students fail just because we are using one way of asking them to express their understanding. But we were constrained in those days. But these days that we have technologies, there are ways we can ask students to present. In fact, in the US, like there are some universities that don't rely on their standard tests anymore. They have this standard test that they give to every student after high school, and based on those scores, then you get admitted into, or you get scholarships and other tests. These days, they will ask you to present a portfolio of all the things you've learned. A digital portfolio. That's you can create your own videos. You can do your own recordings, and in fact, some people even record their own music. Others do animations and so on. And so based on that, they can look at where your strengths are, and then what you are most likely to succeed in, and so they can then admit you into either languages or into medicine or whatever it is. So I think that was New York State. There was a whole debate about it, that moving away from one standard exam, because they realized that the standard exam is not fair to everybody. And so that's what the Universal Design for Learning is talking about. In trying to assess learners, let's find different ways to allow them to express their understanding. So learners differ in the way they can navigate. Okay, so whether there's an environment and so on. So there are some people who have impairments, again. So some people struggle with movement. Of course, these are a bit of the disabilities here and there. Now, how do we cater for, in fact, these days we have special schools that cater for those with extreme cases, But we can also look at situations where those people don't have those extreme cases, but they have mild, they function like normal people. But when it comes to certain issues, they are totally handicapped, language barriers and so on. So expressing themselves either in written text, there are some people who are very good at talking, but when they write, it's just bad. Some people, when you ask them to talk, especially in front of a group of audience or whatever it is, they have issues. But they start panicking and they start sweating, they can't even mention words. But give them a paper and pen to write, and they can clearly express themselves. So how do we find ways of allowing those who want to talk, and those who want to write, and so on? So that's what the principle of expression is talking about. Now, so in applying this, I've put this website here. As I see the website, let me open it. This is a site that looks at, when you are designing your course, how you can apply those principles. There's a video here which and this is even in YouTube, so I've put that on our platform there. But if you look at Universal Design for Learning, so the principles, so principle 1, representation. So this is what they are talking about: provide options for perceptions. Also, in presenting the content, the various ways you can provide the content so that people will be able to perceive the information the same way, irrespective of your background or your disability or whatever it is. And then provide options for language and mathematical expressions and symbols. Also things that you think are not universal to everybody. You try to provide the various options, and then options for comprehension. So these are just examples of how, going back to the okay. I was trying to open. So this is one, then the action and expression. Again, options for physical action, options for expression and communication. Like I was just talking about, how do you want the students to communicate? By writing, by drawing, and then the engagement. How do you get the students interested, motivated? How do you recruit their interest? How do you make it relevant to their needs or their learning needs? Like I was talking about, most adults come into learning looking for things that are relevant to their, their living or their place of work and so on. And so we don't want to provide things that are irrelevant. If they're not relevant, then the students will not get engaged. And so these are just an example of some of the things that we are talking about here. If you go to this website, you'll see how you can, but I've summarized them here. So, but most of this information I'm taken from the CAST website, that they are the ones who started the whole concept of universal design for learning. So provide multiple means of representation. So you need to be asking yourself, some questions. Have I considered options of how printed text, pictures, and charts are displayed? You see, these days we have what we call responsive design. If you are going to do something on a website or a web page, you should bear in mind that the way it appears on a desktop computer or a laptop is different from the way it will appear on a mobile phone. And so these days, in fact, if you open our Moodle Cloud page, you realize that it's what we call responsive. But whether you open it in on a phone, a tablet, or a computer, it displays all the content. See, there are some situations you don't want to cut off the content. If you design in such a way that you don't take care of that, what's happening is that you open it in the phone and some of it is cut off, or some of it failed to display. So if you are going to use technology to present content, you need to look at all that. And then as you are displaying it, do you think you are taking care of, people who have visual issues? So we don't, and that's why when we're making presentations, PowerPoint like this, we don't want to use very small text. In most cases, especially if you are going to sit in a class and project it on the wall. I've been telling most students, you don't write long sentences on PowerPoint. And that's why we call it PowerPoint. They are just points. And you make it big for everyone to see. And you make it clear. And you avoid colors, and then people do text dancing. You see, those are just fancy things. So you have the text dancing here and there, or things spinning around. All those things, they can irritate some people. So even though they are there in PowerPoint and they are fanciful to use, we avoid them. We don't want things flipping here and there, and so on. So you need to consider all that. What options do I provide for students who need support engaging with printed text? So in this case, if you are presenting the content, how have you thought about that? How are you going to present it? And if you are making a video, if you are recording an audio and all that. So these are things that you need to bear in mind. Make it easy for students to adjust. This is just a simple example of the presentation. It doesn't cover everything. It just so make it easy for students to adjust sizes. So if there's a need that, if it's possible that you cannot see, are you able to let the student zoom in? These days the technologies allow that. You can zoom in without losing the content or the material. Because like I said, if you are zooming in some devices, and if you are not designing it properly, some things get cut off. And so we talk of responsive design. So that's something that, but mostly we don't worry too much about that because the technical people handle that for us. So there's options for doing that. And then there are tools that we can use when it comes to presenting the content. So we can present content as text, in which case, this is what we have now, like on this screen, is purely text. There's nothing here, so I'm using PowerPoint. It can also be Microsoft Word. You can have Word, but with PowerPoint, it doesn't necessarily have to just be text. You can equally add other things. But what we call graphics and images. So these are just examples of the technologies that we normally use. We wouldn't be able to go into the details of actually using this because there's another course called multimedia. I'm not sure whether you'll be doing that. But when you come to talk of multimedia instructional design, that's where we now go into this, and then we try to use Photoshop to capture and edit images. I'm sure we already know how to edit images using the phone and other things. There's a difference between graphic and image. A graphic is just anything I draw on a screen. So if I draw anything like this. Okay, so maybe a human being. So this is a graphic. So when we talk about computer graphics, you just draw something. But an image is actually a picture of a real object. So if you take so whenever you see the phrase graphics and images, we are talking of, you need to understand the differences. You can manipulate all this using Photoshop. Photoshop gives you the ability to, but the Photoshop is a technology that, let me clean this, yeah. It's a technology that has become a verb now. Somebody said, if you set up a business and you give it a name, no, it starts as a noun. That's the name of the company. But eventually it becomes a verb. So when the name of your company becomes a verb, then you know that you have really succeeded. So like Google was a search engine, but these days we say go and Google somebody or Google this. The same with Photoshop. So when you hear of photoshopped images, oh, he has photoshopped so the Photoshop has become a verb. So companies like that who have made it or who have succeeded have got their names now becoming verbs. So Photoshop is one, Zoom is another one now that we're using, or go and Zoom, we're Zooming the lecture, all that. So if you have your company and if you have not got to this point, then you haven't succeeded yet. You need to continue. Or once it captures the entire wealth, and then you are able to use it as a verb, then it means you have actually really beaten the market. Anyway, that's just by the way. So you can use Photoshop for graphics and images. For video, you can use Zoom, just like we're doing now. Prior to that, we had Adobe Spark. I think I mentioned this one last week. It's very simple. You just turn it on, turn your camera on, and you record your video, and then you can add some things. And then there's audio too. It doesn't have to be just video. You can record, like we used to have radio lectures. You can record a lecture and play it on radio, or play it as an audio. So there are tools again that we can. There's one called Audacity. Audacity is, some of them you just download it, and then just like I'm talking, I can record all I'm talking. Then I can go in there and cut out. Normally when you give a lecture like I'm doing now, there are a whole lot of extraneous words that come in, like you are saying or and so on and all those. We don't need those ones. So you can go in and remove, use the tool to edit out all those ones. So we have these tools that we use. But like I said, they're just giving you the ideas that these tools are all in there. And then maybe if we come to talk of advanced things, we can look at it. Animations, and there's another tool called Animoto, which is, so animations are simply, let me see if I can go back to annotate again, draw something. If I cannot draw a human being and then make it to, so I have this, can I make it to run? Run from one point to the other. I'm sure we all know how animations work, or even drag and drop. You can create spaces, and ask students to identify some things by dragging and dropping. All those things are tools that we can use. But at the lower levels, children have a whole lot of computer-based tools that they use. But even at the advanced level too, things that we used to draw or look at in books, these days, most of them are animated. You can do dissection of a frog using animation tools. Some of them are there. You can actually put the frog on the table, pin it down, cut it open, pick out the liver, pick out this, all animated. And they look quite real. So you can do a lot of animations. And these are, so this is just presenting your content. So in the principle of representation, if you are going to apply it, then you need to bear in mind that you don't just do text, or you don't just talk, but you try to find other ways of presenting the same content. And we are saying that because some people are visual learners, others are auditory learners, others like to move things. So those, the kinesthetic learners are those who would want to be moving the things. So like I talked about drag and drop, they move things here and there before they can clearly understand. My tool is frozen. Okay, next, yeah. So engagements, we've mentioned this already. How do you engage? How do you get students engaged in the learning process as you go on? So you need to provide the environment or the tools for your students to get engaged. So in this case, there are also some tools that we can use. So there are tools, online collaborative tools. So you have Google Drive. I'm sure some of us have used it before. So this, so you want the students to engage in writing an article or producing a document, but they are not all at the same place. So these are tools that you go online and all of you can edit the same. So rather than one person typing and sending by email to another, and then another person making changes, sending by email, before you realize you have several versions of the same document. But if you use Google Drive, I think I mentioned it last week, yeah, you can, 10 of you can be working on the same document, and it's recording, who has done what and all that. And this is a very good tool for getting people engaged in collaborative work. Then we have what we call a web quest. Web quest is a way of getting students engaged in particular inquiries. So you can provide a series of websites, and ask the students to access these websites and then work on a project or work on something. So we call this web quest. It was a popular learning or instructional tool. It's not too popular these days, but it's still being used. If you are interested, you can just Google web quest and find out what it's all about. There's something called anchored instruction, what we call situated learning. You try to situate learning in the real, the real environment or the real life situation. Most of our teaching and learning was abstract or detached from reality. But there's ways you can, I think I was mentioning last week, in arithmetic or mathematics, we used to have, five men can weed a plot of land, for, takes what? 1 hour to weed a plot of land, how long will it take 2 men working at the same rate to weed that same plot of land? And then you just do a mathematical calculation, you come up with the answer, you get it correct, But that doesn't just really make sense, because you know that in reality, if you go to, all right, I think my power is misbehaving, so I have to. Anyway, I'm sure we'll finish before anybody. All right, so we've used Socrative. I would want us to use Socrative beginning next week. We'll try to use Socrative again. And then there are some tools we call mind mapping. People can work together to brainstorm. So if you give students an assignment or a project, but most of the times it's good that we let students work in groups. Group work, that's what happens in real life anyway. But these days, group work doesn't necessarily, you don't need to have to meet physically and then discuss. You can do it just like we're doing now. So if you don't like the person, no problem. You are not really, working. Look at the person. The person, you are just looking at the person's output or the voice. And so, and then meeting times and meeting days sometimes can be difficult if you are going to meet physically. So you can have these online tools that you can let people work collaboratively. And so we have what we call mind mapping. So these are things that let you brainstorm, how to go about a particular project, and it's quite engaging. And we all know videos and animations, they tend to be more engaging than just text or just voice. And so these tools are there to help us go through or implement the process of engagement. What's happening to, okay. And the last one, which is action and expression. So how do we get students to express their understanding of what we've taught? So we have been talking of exams, and we are saying that let's provide multiple means. So we shouldn't just stick to assessments in the form of only exam, but let's look at other ways. So they can ask to present digital portfolios. I've already talked about these ones. They can have blogs and wikis. But this course, we'll be creating a blog at a point. Apart from the learning management platform that you are all required to create, we also need to create a blog. A blog, as we know, is a social media system where you can, once you have your blog, you can share with all your other, with all your other colleagues. And so whenever you post or whenever you make an update on your blog, then they get an alert telling you that, oh, this person has posted something new on the blog. But blogs, asking a student to create a blog of their understanding of the content is also part of the engagement aspect, or the expression aspect of instructional design. So what we're saying is that at the end of an exercise or a presentation or a lesson, rather than having an assignment or an assessment in the form of a quiz, you can say, go to your blog and make a blog update telling us your understanding of what we've talked about today. And then, so the person will go in there and then they can add images and other things and so on. So all these are different ways of getting students to express themselves. We can also make posters, multimedia posters. There's another tool called Blockster. Most of these are free to use for some, if you want to make a poster, normally those of you who have attended conferences and other things, you see that you can go to the conference and you see somebody has made a poster. We're not talking about the pictures that they paste all over the political things, but we're talking about an academic poster. One that tells us, maybe if you've done some research, you are presenting your research in the form of a poster. And you can get people to work collaboratively with these things. So rather than have an assignment in the form of text, you can ask them to write, to present a poster. So this, for those who are interested in making graphics and images, they will, they will be catered for. And those who would want to write text, that's fine. You can also ask them to write an assignment. So what we're saying is that we don't want to have just one way of assessing people. I know this is a challenge when it comes to formal education now, because people are still looking for exam questions and exam results. But we are not restricting everything just to formal education. If you have to train a group of people for something, you need to bear all this in mind. Because once you assemble that group, they are going to be made up of different categories of people. And you have to find ways to accommodate all their abilities and their needs. So I put this, this is just a summary of what we've talked about. If you look at it, it's just showing you the various principles. So the principles are at the top there. Annotation. So the principles are at the top there. I'll move this a bit. It's applying. Oh, okay. Let me take it out. Yeah. So we have representation, we have engagement, and we have action and expression, and the various steps or the various strategies that you can use to implement these principles. So that's just a summary of it. Go to the next. Yeah. So finally, just winding down on this. What we are saying now is, yeah. Okay. In implementing universal design for learning processes or practices, it's always recommended that the learner be included in designing. In fact, when we talk of student-centered or learner-centered learning, we always want to include the learners in designing the process. So you ask, okay, what do you want to learn specifically? How do you want us to go about it? You know, so there's, but of course, at the lower levels, we don't do that. There's something they have to follow. But when we are dealing with adults, you know, normally in the classrooms, we can decide at a particular day, you know. So sometimes I get to the class and I ask, okay, what should we talk about today? You know, or what do you want us to learn today? Now, how do we go about it? How do we assess it at the end of the day? And then we allow students to bring their input. Most of the time, people are reluctant to contribute, but then we are still used to the didactic way of learning and teaching. Most students are always quite apprehensive if you ask them to get engaged in designing the course or even in a collaborative work. They just want to listen to lectures and come and write exams. People are still comfortable that way. You know? So most of the time when you want to get students engaged in the process, then you don't get much coming in because people are waiting for you to lecture them and then they will go away and come and write their exam. You know? But we are moving away from that paradigm, you know, because it doesn't help us a lot. You know, but these days, I think maybe we are beginning to change now. The way we used to be stuck with English grammar, you know. So we look at the grammar, you have to be, you know, perfect in your English grammar and all that. I mean, it doesn't, you are just, it's communication. English is a way to communicate. I mean, if you are communicating the substance and the person is understanding what you are communicating, but the various nuances of the language that don't even really matter. You know, so we need to start move away from, you know, the Queen's English. We want people to be able to, you know, speak perfect English or write without errors and other things. I think that's neither here nor there. It's not because that's not results. We are looking for results. People are going to the moon and, you know, without good English. The Chinese, when they speak or write English, you know, but they are producing results. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at changing the learning paradigm in such a way that, you know, we're able to express ourselves, we're able to engage in the learning, you know, because the technologies are now there to help us do all that. And that's why we are discussing this issue of universal design for learning. Encourage students to communicate their learning preferences and needs, you know, that's what I was just talking about. And the digital technologies that we've mentioned, there are thousands and thousands of them there. Now, they enable easier and more effective customization of the curriculum for learning. So you can easily customize the learning processes. You can customize a whole lot of things because we now have all these tools that we use. And so this draws down the presentation on universal design for learning. So if I'll recap briefly, we're talking about a situation where we have a group of people we have to teach. We know that they are made up of different categories of human beings. Some have disabilities, some have challenges, and so on. And now we want to be sure that we have equity. Everybody should experience the learning the same way. So what we're saying is that we cannot just talk and then expect everybody to understand because people have different learning styles or learning style preferences. You cannot just write on the board, you know, for people to copy down and then expect everybody to perform the same way. And so the UDL came up with these principles. In presenting the content, find different ways of doing it. In getting students engaged in the learning, find different ways of getting them to engage. And then even in the expression or even the assessment, for them to demonstrate understanding of the content, find different ways of doing that as well. So in that case, we'll have equity or we'll cover everybody. So let me pause here since I've been talking for some time, and then let's have a short discussion. If you have any question or you have a comment, and then we'll look briefly at our what is happening on our learning platform. So if you have any question or any comment, just turn on your microphone and then let me, and then you can ask, or a contribution. It doesn't have to be a question or comment. So for the next 5 minutes, let's see. If anybody has Anybody has any question or comment? Turn on your microphone or raise your hand. I can let you talk. Else, I'll assume two things. Either the assumption will, yeah. Okay, I can see it set. Yeah, set. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, morning.
As we speak now, we have a lecture on inclusive education. And I want to believe that this can support that agenda of inclusive education.
Yes.
When we apply the principles that we have heard, the various technologies to meet those challenges.
Yes. Yeah, that's another way of looking at it. You can call it inclusive. Yeah. So the inclusive here is trying to cater for the different categories of learners that you have.
Yeah.
So that's it. Is it a topic you are treating or is a course?
Yeah, it's a topic that I'm treating in law and ethics.
Okay. Yeah. They might not talk about the technology aspect of it.
Yeah.
So what we are looking at, so we are looking at these principles and all these things because at the end of the day, we want to be able to use the technologies to actually, put these things into or put them into practice. Because talk of inclusive education. Fine, you can mention different ways of doing it, but technology will help you do it better.
Yeah.
And that's why we are talking about it here. Beginning next week onwards, we'll start looking at how we'll start talking about technology. That's where the technology things will now come. So far, we've been talking about the principles and then the instructional design, guidelines and other things. But we'll now start looking at how we can, and that's why that's where we will now come onto our learning management system. So this is the platform that we are going to now begin to create our instructional design, applying the technologies. So yeah, so that's quite understandable. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Who else is? Somebody else raised their hand. Okay. So that this is basically the what we are covering today. But like I said, if you go to the platform, you will see I have a whole lot of other information in there. And so the whole idea is that you need to. But there's this UDL at a glance. What is UDL? So these are just things that when you are, of course, you need internet anyway. But if you don't feel like reading or doing anything, you just turn on the video, and listen to somebody also explaining the concepts. Yeah. So this is this more like trying a kind of animation. Yeah. So this is just some of them are quite interesting to look at. This is targeted at the lower levels. If you look at this universal design for learning, this is more of the various principles that we've been talking about. So anyway, so anytime you are free or you don't feel like reading, you can just watch the videos. And then of course there are other documents in there getting started. Some of these it's not saving this. I don't know. Some of these I took the presentation. I took most of that information from some of these ones. So if you read this, you get more information on what we're talking about here. So we have universal design. Okay, so from next week onwards, we're going to start talking about technical. We'll mention what we call the 21st century skills first, because these days we talk about, we're in the 21st century, and students need to possess some skills. We are moving away from grammar and arithmetic and those things. We now need what we call problem-solving skills, critical thinking, technology skills. Those are what we call the 21st century skills. And so how do we teach those skills in the schools? Again, we need technology. So we look at that as well. And then I'll upload this presentation here. So far, we've got 4 presentations starting from 1. So under each week, we have presentations, and then we have all these to cover. Now, so for this week, there is a trial quiz that you need to take. I think some people have started taking it. Like I said, it's non-scoring. Just try it and see how it works. Now, I know the way the system is, they will soon start talking of mid-semester. Now, so the mid-semester or mid-semester exam, or is it mid-semester assignment, or whatever. So the mid-semester, we are going to use quizzes. So the quiz is, we'll have about 2 or 3 of them covering what we've done. And so now bear in mind that those quizzes are now more like a test, or they are more like exams. And we have the technology that has built in a whole lot of things that can prevent cheating. So what we are saying here is the quizzes are going to be customized to each individual. So when you are answering the questions, they are most likely not going to be the same set of questions that your other colleague is answering. And even with the same questions, the answers are shuffled, are randomly shuffled. So if question 1 was B for you, and the same question appears as question 3 for somebody, the answer will not be B, it might be C or D, whatever it is. So it's a way of checking what we call dishonesty or cheating. But normally this is, it's the undergraduates are normally worried about. When it comes to graduate students, you people are adults, and you know what you're about. So when we put quizzes, I'm not worried about people trying to cheat or anything. So we'll have the quizzes up there. So after the trial one, the first one, which will be after next week, because this week you have your assignment. So after next week, you have your first quiz, and that one you have 2 attempts. So the 2 attempts is that, if you finish the first attempt and you get maybe 5 over 10, and you're not satisfied, you can redo it. But then the subsequent one, you are going to have just 1 attempt. And it's timed. If you don't work within the time, it's just like any other exam. You won't have all the time in the world to do it. And if you open it and you start and you don't finish, and then you leave, that is it. But again, we also have ways of, if maybe your power goes off or your internet goes off, we can see. You can go into the system and see that, and then if that happens, we can always reset the quiz for the particular individual to do it again. So it's very flexible. That way, we are able to use it for assessment. And the assignments will also come. And so maybe you ask to write the final exam, I'm sure, or they'll ask for exam questions. I always try to avoid that, but you cannot. In our settings, they'll say bring exam questions. So there will be an exam to write. But if you do the assignments, I don't think you have a problem with the exams. Most likely going to be the same type of questions. So that is so continuing for this week, and I expect you to upload your assignment here. So like I said, don't send the document as email or WhatsApp, no, because here this is a platform that will allow us to mark the assignment. So if I mark it, you see the grade, you see. So if you send it to me by email, it will be very difficult to do that. And there will be comments for you, that's feedback. So depending on how you're answering the questions, I'll have comments. And those comments are going to help you. So you need to submit it here. And I said in PDF format. So when you type it in Word, just save it as PDF and you submit. And because it's an academic assignment, as much as possible, try to have references. It doesn't have to be plenty, No, so the beginning, because when you come to write your thesis and other things, you have to reference. So when you start writing, start looking at how you can be putting in the references, the in-text referencing, and then at the end of the assignment, you have your list of references. So for this, we don't expect more than maybe 5. I mean, if you have maximum of 5 references, that's fine. For the first assignment, without references, that is fine. You'll be forgiven. But the subsequent ones, you have to have references. Now, when you are writing academic things, everything is not coming from your head. Whatever you say, you probably would have seen it somewhere or read it from somewhere. So you don't just write them, especially if they are facts. You don't put down facts as if they are coming from your head. You need to reference. So references or referencing is very critical. So the subsequent assignments, there will be marks allotted for referencing. I'll have to find out the style that we are using, but in education, mostly we use what we call the APA style of referencing. There are different ways of doing your references. So, but we'll look at that. So the assignment 1, due by Friday. You can, well, submit after Friday, but then, like I said, the system will start deducting marks, depending on how long you take to submit. But after 2 weeks, then you get 0. The system will bring you down to 0. So if you are 1 day late, maybe you will lose a few percentage. 2 days late, until 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks, if you submit it and I mark it, you are going to get 0. Well, you can still submit it anyway, because maybe there will be feedback comments, but the system will score you 0. So this is also a way of using the technology to sort of control or manage the assessment processes, so that people are conscious and you work within time. Because now, as the instructor, once the things are set, well, I can go in and change some things, but it will not be fair to others. We're talking about equity now. So if you are given assignments, we have 2 weeks. And so for the 2 weeks, we expect that even if you are very busy, you should be able to find some 1 or 2 hours to write your assignment and submit. And then of course, if you can submit late, but then we begin to penalize you for. But we won't leave it just open. If we leave it open, then people will decide to submit anytime, and that's not also acceptable. So this is the platform, and then I was expecting. So at the end of this, from here, I said paste your Moodle Cloud link here. So I expect that everyone will have the links to your platform, so that we will see. But now, I mean, if I try to go, I wouldn't be able to, because I don't have an account in it. But what we'll be doing is that we'll have to create accounts for people. And so I think everybody in the class will have access to everyone else's site. So that's what we'll do. So I'll create a list of all the people in the class, and then we'll upload it onto our sites, so that everybody has an account in the site, so you can log in and see what is in there and all that. So those are the things we'll be doing. But for now, if I try to open anybody's page, this is what I get. But we'll come to look at that again. Yeah. So now last week I tried to make you understand how to change this. It shouldn't just be my new Moodle site. No, it should be your name. So if you can have your name, that will be fine. And then it's like this. Now I'm logged in here as a student, so I need to just show you one thing. So let me just quickly, log in as now. So if you are the administrator, then you have extra things that you can do. So to the left there, I'm not sure, it looks like the last time I was having issues. Let me go to my annotates. Okay. Yeah, let me do normal drawing. Down to the left, there's site administration. If you are, as a student, If you log into my platform now, you wouldn't see this because you are not the administrator of the site, so you wouldn't see this. So site administration, if you open that, that is where you will now see all these things. Yeah, so I was saying the first thing you should do to change the, let me go back to my annotate again, to change the, it's not responding the way I expected. Yeah, and aside, you see that you have users, you have courses, grades, and all that. All these are things that we can see that there's a whole lot of things. Even the server reports, I can generate reports of every individual on the course, the number of times you've logged in, and all the details. So if I'm giving marks for participation in the course, I'll be looking at how frequently or whether you've downloaded. See, I can find out like the, if I go back to the dashboard, go back to the course page here. So the Moodle has given us now, yeah. So these are things you are required to download and read because it's part of the learning process. And so as an individual, if you click on this and download, it's recorded on the server. So at the end of the day, I can tell whether you've downloaded the things or not. And if I'm giving marks for participation, which I will do at the end, it's not just your assignments and then the quiz that I'm also going to look at your participation in class. It's just like coming to class. If it were a physical class, when you come to class, you write down your name, isn't it? At the end of the day, we look at your participation. Normally, we don't enforce the rule because we say that if you don't attend class for what is it, 30 or 60% of the time, then you are not even qualified to write the exam. We don't enforce those ones. But here, what we're saying is that we need for you to participate in the class. So this is a virtual participation. Apart from just joining the Zoom lecture, you have to access these materials. Well, these are the things that are part of the learning. And so if throughout the whole semester or the whole process, you have not even downloaded one of these, then I will assume that you are actually not participating in the class. By just joining on the Zoom and then listening to the lecture, but not accessing this, then you are not really participating in the class. And so, depending on how things go, we can always try to look at your participation. But in some situations, in other institutions, what happens is that participation, we don't use it until the student has a borderline issue. So if you are at a borderline between B plus and A, or between B and B plus, then we can come and look at your activities on the platform. If we see that you are very active, downloaded all the content, did all that, then we say you participated actively. So we can just push you from B plus to A. Or if you're also failing, we can also use the participation because the technology is there. It can tell us every click on the platform is recorded. And that's why when you go to your site administration down there, you can have your reports. So with reports, we have what we call live logs. So it's just logging in everything as and when they happen. So when I download all the logs, I'll be able to tell, I can sort out all the students. I can tell you the number of times you have accessed the platform, whether you've watched the videos, by what means, whether you've clicked on them. So once you click on something, it's recorded and all that. So that is participation. So here in your site administration, we are saying that once you are here, just scroll all the way down and you come and see front page. So the front page is what appears on your front page there. So that's your front page. So if you look at the front page and then you say the settings, you click on the settings, you realize that I have my name here. And so you can put in your name here. And then just scroll down. Ignore all these ones and then just save. So once you do that, then when I open your site, I will see your name here. So this is just something that will distinguish, because the interface is the same anyway. Like I said, you can change the theme too, but let's not worry about that. That's not really important. So you can change this. You can also put short name. I'll just put my name there, and that's what appears here. If I have my annotation, the annotation is not working the way I expected. Yeah. So if I type this here, that's what appears whenever I open my site, and it's always there. And then this is what will appear when you open the site for. So if I go to take out the animation, if I open a new browser, okay, I'm just trying to open a new browser here, and then I try to go to my Moodle Cloud platform. So so this is how it is. So we realize that we have let me clean this. So we realize that we have the annotation. This thing is not working the way I expected. Yeah. This is how my front page appears. And that's because this is how I set it. So whatever you set here is what will appear here. So you can put, but better to put your name so that you can easily tell whose site it is. And then you can have the short name if you want. That's optional. So this is just once you create your Moodle Cloud site, this is what we expect to see. After next week, we'll begin doing the other ones. So if you look at it, you will see the first thing will be to create your course. So there are courses. But once you have created, you have got this platform, you can create several courses. It doesn't have to be just one. Because if I go to my dashboard, for example, if I open this, you can see that I have, where is it? Dashboard here. Yeah. So I have this course, and this is the one that was delivered last year, and I have another one. So you can create several courses on the same platform. So that's where in the site administration you have courses. So you can see add a new course. So we'll come to do those ones, and then there's other things. We don't need to worry too much about all these ones. And then there's users. It says add a new user. So you can add a user to your platform and then enroll them in the course. And so that's what we'll be doing subsequently. So after next week, what we'll be doing is that the presentations will reduce. I mean, the Zoom presentation, the PowerPoint presentation will reduce maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And then I will be doing the demonstrations of these things, how to create, this is supposed to be a hands-on course in a computer lab. That's ideally, that's how it should be. But we can do it online, So, and online, it just requires extra. You may have your phone so that you can be looking at what I'm doing, and then you can have your laptop where you can be doing that's what we do in class anyway. In class, people come with their own laptops, and then what we do is that I project this, and then as I'm doing it, and they are also working on their platforms. So it's going to be the same thing. So we'll be doing it one after the other. At the end of it, what we want to have to show is that we have created a learning management system, a platform, and we are putting content. And so now we're going to be putting in content. We're going to be applying some of the things that we've learned. So we design the instruction. What are your learning objectives? Okay. If your learning objective is that at the end of the day, you should be able to add 2 + 2 and get 4. Okay, that's fine. That's our objective. Now we ask ourselves, how do we present the content to the student? Should it be a video? Should it be a text? Should it be sound, an audio file, and so on? And UDL says use all of them so that you cater for all your categories of learners. So we'll start seeing how we can So if I come back to my dashboard, okay. So if I go to, all right, this is my, yes. So for each week, now we didn't, so I have about the course here, the course syllabus. The course syllabus is what was given to me. I didn't restructure it the way I want it, that is what was given to me, but I'm reorganizing it. It's a bit outdated and a bit, so I don't know when they created this, but this is what was given to me, but I have to reorganize it. So if I look at, okay, but the syllabus is, yeah, so that is the course description, yeah, and then you have your objectives. You see, so if you look at your, not too much, I'm just trying to zoom this so that you can see. If you look at your objectives, create lessons that efficiently use technologies. So we have to, so it means at the end of this course, you should be able to create a lesson. So there was no point, having this course and ending and write an exam, and then you cannot create a lesson using the technology. So, and that's why we have got the learning management system platform that we use to create lessons. Design and evaluate, a learning environment. So we are designing and describe. So to describe is just simply, that's what we'll be covering subsequently, how we can use technologies and so on. And then investigate, evaluate. So you realize that all these are the verbs that we were talking about earlier on. If I go back to Bloom's taxonomy, where is the, do we still have time? Okay, we're almost, okay, Bloom's taxonomy. Taxonomy verbs. In this thing. Yes, obstructing. Yeah, okay. Yes. Okay, so this is the Bloom's taxonomy. Where are they? Okay, let me use this graphic, which is easier to look at. So when you are, so to start with, when you are designing your course objectives, you need to bear in mind these verbs that we use. So you realize that now at the lower levels, it's just to remember. In fact, you wouldn't, for masters, you wouldn't design a course objective as you should be able to remember something. No, we're not looking at that. So we have explain or describe and all that. So that's understanding. And so we have describe and other things here. And then as you move all the way up, so the highest level of learning is the creation. So create something will now demonstrate that you can apply, you can do all the evaluation and all that. And so the topmost, analyze, evaluate, create, is what the master's level is. At the undergraduate level, we have understand and apply, and so on. So you realize that here, apart from describe, the rest of it has to do with evaluate, to design, create, and all those ones. And so that's in designing your course, depending on the level. But if we are dealing with lower levels, the primary schools, is basically just remembering. We used to recite some things. So we keep reciting them so that we can just remember them. And up till now, we still remember some of them anyway. And then demonstrate some understanding. And maybe application. Of course, we're not saying that you cannot do creation and other things at that level, but the emphasis should not be on just the creation, because the child needs, or the student needs to gradually build some level of understanding of several aspects of things before they can begin to create things. So, but at the master's level, we expect creation. So the first thing that we'll be doing once we set up our sites will be to create a course. So we'll create a course, and then we'll have the objectives. I mean, this is a brief description of the course. We'll have the objectives. You don't have to display them here anyway. But then we'll now start seeing how we can put all these various things in there as we have done here. And so at the end of the day, you have something to show, or you will have created. And then you can even evaluate other people's courses based on how they've done it. If you're asked to evaluate some of the lectures you probably have attended, maybe before the COVID. I mean, if a lecture was just, but some lecturers used to just sit down. They just come and sit down at the corner in the table and they're just reading. There's very little engagement, you know, very little. I mean, those ones, and then at the end of the day, what do? They set the questions, and all the students do is just reproduce what they were lecturing. If you don't do that, then you fail. So what the students do is just go and memorize all what they are talking about, and just come and reproduce them, and that's at the very lowest level. You know, so depending on your level, you can be talking of a primary school, you can be talking of a secondary school, you can be talking of the university level, or even a PhD level. You know. But it has to reflect the type of learners that you have, and then your objectives, at the end of the day, how you want to achieve those objectives, and then how will you get the students to demonstrate an understanding of what has been taught. And so that's what we'll be doing with this, and then we'll look at the technologies that we can be using all along the way. I've already mentioned some of them. So that's what UDL is about. Our time is running out now. Let me pause again. If somebody has a question or a comment, just raise your hand, and so that we can wrap up. I know some of you say you have other courses you have to go to, or you have clashes with other courses. I don't know. I can't do much about that because the timetable was drawn and given to me. So I don't know how we can work that out. Yeah. So somebody's hand is up. Your name is Galaxy A70. You haven't changed your, or you maybe, yeah, Galaxy A70. Your hand is up. Unmute your microphone. If you unmute your microphone, you can talk.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm Vida Sapabel.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yes. I'm getting a bit jittery because where I live, network, Vodafone sometimes work a little bit. I have Vodafone, I have MTN, but it keeps going on and off. I keep struggling and I keep struggling. So with this physics and what have you coming up, I'm getting a bit jittery or agitated because I don't know what may happen. Sometimes I may have to move from my premises, my area to another place.
Wow.
And when I'm going, I have to carry my router along to go and plug somewhere.
Well, wow, that's a challenge. These are some of the challenges. But you only experience this when we are having the Zoom. Because the rest of it, what's happening is that all the demonstrations I'm doing, I'll be recording them. And once I record them, I'll upload it here. You see? So at your convenience or at any where you can get better connectivity, you can replay back the recording.
Okay.
You can play back the recording, and if I were demonstrating something on the screen, I will record all of it. And so you can play it back and then go step by step if there were any. So you don't need to worry too much if you're not able to follow the live one. There's the recordings that I try to record everything so that I'll put it out there. I mean, sometimes the video can be big, but then I have a YouTube channel, so I simply put it in YouTube and you can access it. So yeah, and that's where we talk of the synchronous and then the asynchronous way of learning. The technology is enabling us to do that. So synchronous is what we're doing now. We are all together live, but then that is just a fraction of it. The bulk of the learning is asynchronous. So you go in, we call it anytime, any place learning. So anytime you want, you go in there and then you can access all that is in there. All right. Okay, another hand is up. Let me look at whose hand is up. Okay, King Zico. Zico?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, morning. Yeah.
My name is Ishaq Abubakar Zico. This is my first time in your class, sir.
Oh, okay.
Last week I tried joining, but I couldn't. I did not have the opportunity to do so. I'm finding it difficult to have some of your slides. I don't know if there is any, so I can actually see them.
Oh no! Once you are on this, once you are on the platform, have you been able to log onto this platform? I think I created the account for you.
No, not yet, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I said this is our.
So once I'm on.
Yeah, this is our class. This is our virtual classroom.
Okay.
And everything is there.
All right.
You see? Yeah. Okay. So the first slides, PowerPoint presentation one, but everything is there.
Okay.
Yeah. So just log on to. I think I created an account there. So just log on to the platform, and you have it. But you need to introduce yourself first. So tell us who you are. Yeah. So if you look at introduce yourself, we have all people are introducing themselves. In fact, it's not just introduction only; it's just an interaction. You can decide to reply to some people's introduction and other things. We'll be doing more of these discussions. Yeah.
Okay. My second question: is it the same template? Is it the same platform you are teaching us to be able to build?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. So that's yes. Okay. So that's the platform. Yes. Because we have what we call blended learning. You know, we are moving away from face-to-face teaching. Just like we are doing now. In fact, circumstances have forced us to now use online. But you can use this platform. You can use this platform for face-to-face class as well. Because yes, yeah, because the technologies that we are looking at. So in fact, in classes, there were some days I used not to go to class because if I look at what we're coming to do today, if it is just presentation, you know, I'll just simply put the PowerPoint out there, and then people can access them.
Okay.
So this platform, so at the end of the day, you are going to create your own platform. Have your students in there and deliver a course using the yes. That's the purpose of this course. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Who else has the hand up?
Josh.
Is it Regina?
No, I'm Josh.
Okay.
Hello. Yes, that's Regina.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, morning.
Sir, please, some of us complain about the network and said they have installed this thing in the school, so you check on it for us. Because most lectures, some of us are not doing it.
They are not. Come again.
We are not able to Zoom it because of the network.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. So let me talk to Prof and we'll see. Yeah, because this without the network, just like I explained, you can still experience fully. You can fully experience the learning, everything without necessarily having live network all the time. So if they're only doing Zoom, lectures, and then after that, what happens? When they do the Zoom, what happens after that? That ends it.
Yes, we don't get anything.
No.
Doc, we are in support of what she's saying because that's going to help us greatly.
Yeah, you cannot. They can't do that. You can't just do Zoom, and then what do? They send the slides to you.
That's it.
The slides? No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, that's what it's actually done now.
No. They can't do that because.
So especially we those who came late, we are actually suffering.
You wouldn't be able to, yes. You see, for this course, I mean, of course, after maybe 5-6 weeks, I don't expect people to come on again. But for this course, if you come in late, you really don't miss anything. because all the recordings are there. You know, whatever you are supposed to be done is all there that you can access. Method, I don't know what happened, but we sometimes, yes, but we implemented, I mean, we installed the Moodle. We installed Moodle. I think it has to do with, yeah, Moodle, is it this? It has to do with, we need to be consistent about it. We have to train. You see, because this is another profession altogether. We are called instructional designers or instructional technologists. You see, and that's what we do. So what we do is that we work with teachers. Oh no, yes. We work with teachers to implement technology in their instruction. You know, so when I'm using these tools, it's because I'm in that profession. But we now need to train all the other lecturers.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to, just like we are training you people now, you know, I'm hoping that by the time we finish this course, you'll be able to use this platform to administer a course. And so I think Methodist University, we talked about it. I remembered I was told they had installed it, but it looks like they have not moved beyond that. So let me discuss with Professor Sumane and we'll see. See what, yeah, we have to find, you cannot, I mean, if we're meeting face to face, in class, that's fine. You can send PowerPoint by WhatsApp or other things. But if it is what they're doing, that's not online learning, because we call it online learning. It's not just presenting content by Zoom. No, that's not. I think you have a case, or you students, you have a point. So we'll look into that. I say, I'm not full time at Methodist, so I'll look into that and see if we need to do something quickly so that we can get the lecturers to begin using systems like this then. Because I mean, this is what most universities use now. So we have Moodle, we'll be mentioning some of them. We have Moodle, we have another called Blackboard, another called Desire to Learn, and all that. So we have to have, yes. Okay. Yeah, come again.
Something for me. Joining the platform, the Moodle platform.
Yes.
It's not the same as creating the site that you asked us to, is it?
It's not the same as creating
the Moodle site.
Yeah, you are creating your own platform. No, you are joining if you join, you are joining my platform, my class. That's this one. The one that is on screen now. When you join, this is so I'm the teacher on this platform, and you are joining as a student. You see? But the one you are creating, you are now going to be the teacher on that platform. So that is yours. So you are supposed to be able to use that to also teach. To teach online, yes.
So should I create one? It's presumed that I'm a teacher.
Yes.
Now, can another person who did not create it but have the skill to teach on my platform?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
You simply make the person a teacher. No, so you can. You see, it's just a platform. Yeah, you enroll the person and make the person a teacher, and the person can teach using the platform. You see, there are levels. You see, what the students can do on a platform is different from what the teacher can do. You know, so because the teacher, you can put in the content and do all those things, but the students, your activity is limited. So when you come onto my platform now, there's very little you can do apart from just downloading the content or watching the videos and other things. But if you are the teacher, you are now the one who is supposed to put the things up there. So you are here as a student, but eventually you are going to create your platform as a teacher, and then mount your course, enroll your students, and then you can do the online teaching just like we're doing now. That's the ultimate aim of this course anyway. So I'm only hoping that when you are done with this, you should be able to run your own online learning course. I mean, not at but no, that was always a beginning of everything anyway. So, but you can start gradually. But there's a point at which once you're a bit used to the system, there are so many things that you can then do. And so that's I think the problem you are having now is because the lecturers, most lecturers were not taken through this thing before they asked them to teach online. That's what they should have. They should have asked them to develop a platform that they can use to teach online. It doesn't necessarily have to be this. It can even be a website, or it can be other things, but not just Zoom and WhatsApp. No, that is not. Yeah, whose hand is up again? Anybody's hand up?
Doc, I want to ask: is a model same as Sakai, or has it got a relationship with Sakai?
No. Sakai is just another. These are what we call learning management systems. They are platforms that have been built by people. Now, so these are open source. So open source means, it's free, and the developers are plenty. So many people are contributing to build it. So we have Moodle, we have Sakai, we have it's just like different varieties. Like we have Toyota, we have Honda, we have this. They are all cars, but they have their different So it depends on which one you want. There's one called Blackboard, which is very, very expensive. That one you have to pay. So most institutions here but that Blackboard works actually, it's very, very robust. You can handle 10,000 students, 20,000 students, but you have to pay. There's another one called D2L, or Desire to Learn, which is also free. Then Moodle, and so Sakai, Legon was using Sakai, but I understand they're having issues, so they are changing to Moodle or something. So most institutions are using Moodle, this one. Yeah. Now, what we are using here is called Moodle Cloud, in the sense that this is free on the internet. Now, as an institution, if you want to use this, you have to download Moodle and install on your systems. And so that's the difference. But because we are using it just for learning purposes, we are using and so you see the Moodle Cloud in there. So those of you who have not, let me just spend the last 1 minute, because I know the time is up. So you can create your, yes. Yeah, go on. Yeah, who is talking? Is it Regina? Hello?
Maybe she's
yeah, maybe the net is
down.
Yeah. So for those who have so you need to go to Moodle Cloud. So let me open this. Expand this a bit so we can see Moodle. You can just type this in the browser, moodlecloud.com. So it will take you to a platform like this. So let me put it here. Yeah. So you see, Moodle Cloud customer sign if you already have an account and other things. But for us, no, so you just go to get started. So if you say get started, then it will open options for you. Now so you have, you have the starter, you have the mini, small. That's if you want to pay. But you are just using the free one for now. But I mean, if you set up your own institution or you want to teach, in a or train people, you can pay some amount and then have it. But if you just scroll down, you will see try it for free. So we are using the free version. So try for free. So you just click on the free trial, and it will go through a process of setting you up. It's just like creating a Facebook account or whatever it is. So if you say create a new account, and now, so you have this. you agree to these their terms. Normally we don't even read them, but we agree just so that we can proceed. Next. Now it will ask for your particulars, your name. So this is, so it's a 5-step process. You provide your, and I don't need to go through this because this is something most of you do all the time, you know. So provide your information, and then what it will do is that it will ask for your phone number, your phone number here, so that it will text a code. It will send a code to your phone, and then you enter that. So that, I mean, just to be sure that it's not a machine that is creating the account. There are some things called robots or bots that go on the internet, create accounts here and there. So once you submit your phone number and you get a text, you just enter it, and then you create your account. In fact, in the first place, it will ask for, so let me just do one more thing. Okay, let me put my name here. Oh, I think I've used this address already. At Yahoo, let me use my Yahoo address. At yahoo.com. Right, so that's my, I have to change. I remember I tried using this and then I was told that the phone has been used already. I don't have my other phone here, but let me just, okay, let me use 027 620 923. Okay, these ones are organization name, all these. Okay, then you go next. So once you provide your information, this one. Provide a valid, I didn't change this to Ghana. Oh, okay. So this has to be Ghana, yeah. All right. Yeah, so when you do this now, it's going to ask for the name of your site. Now, so here, you see that it says .moodlecloud.com. So whatever name you put here, so I can just put my name. So it will search. Okay, so you say your name is available. Now, if you use a name that has already been taken, like mine here, now if you do this, it will say, no, someone has already taken your site. So if you are going to use a name that is very simple, you are most likely to have, so ama.moodlecloud.com has already been taken. So you need to put your name, your unique name. So, and that name you put there will be what people will type in the browser, the address bar to access your site. So you can put your name here, Kofi, and then you go through. So like I was doing the last time, let's see, Kofi, so Kofi is available. So it says your URL will be kofi.moodlecloud.com. So this is the one I want you to copy. So this is your Moodle Cloud address. And then if you come to our page or the learning management system, that is my page, you need to log in and then you scroll all the way down. So apart from the introduction, and you come here, it says paste link to your, in fact, I'll move this to come under the introduction so that it'll be easy to. So paste your Moodle Cloud platform here. Then, so once you open that, you realize that some people have started pasting theirs here. So you can just hit on the reply, any of them, you can reply to it doesn't matter. Or you can reply to the main one. And you just paste it. Control V, you paste. So this is, so you'd have created it at the Moodle Cloud here. But from here, you need to continue and finish it. Okay, this doesn't matter. Trying out or evaluating. Now, if I go next, what it will do is that it will say it has sent the text to my phone. But I don't have that phone here. So if it sends the text to the phone, then I enter it, and then I go to the next step. That will, and when you finish, you see that it will create something like this for you. So you have this, and because you provided your username and your password, you can use it to log in. So you log into this. But like I said, After next week, we'll begin step by step. Yes. Question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Please, so what if you forget your password? What happens?
No. Yeah, so you see the forgotten your username here? Yeah, so you click on this, provide your email. You know, you can, if you use the username, but it's better to just provide your email. Now, if your email is there, it will send a password reset to your email, and then you can reset it. So when you forget password, don't worry. Yeah, just use the forgotten password functionality, either on my site or your own site. Yeah, but just remember your email. I don't think you will forget your email address. So at least remember your email address so you can provide that. So,
sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir,
yeah, good.
You just took us to how to create our personalized site.
Yes.
Now, how do other people register to become students on your site?
No. So
when we are done with your site?
When we are all done, what you do is that you have to register. You have to register the students. But you have to create accounts for the students. And so we'll go through that. We'll do the step by step. So you have to create account for this, just like I do. So when I created my site, that's why I said send your email addresses, to me. So when you send your email addresses, then I create account for you. So you see that everybody is here. So your name, your email address, yeah. So you have to create this for the student, but you can put them all in one file and upload it. You can look at that one. If you have your group of students, you can just upload it up there. So once you do that,
so
then
which means that they can't apply themselves.
No. No, you don't. No, you don't want people to just. You can only see it as a guest. We can turn on the functionality because see with this, the issue is you don't want people to just be able to access it. If you are because we're using it as a learning platform, people will have their assignments and their grades here. You see, so what it means is that, I mean, if you submit, assuming you submit your assignment, and then somebody can easily come in and get your account. The person can come and delete your assignment, or come and, I mean, assuming that the person has a grudge with you, this is where it's recording your assignment, recording your grades, everything. The person can come in and just delete them. So it's you and your individual account. So, but we don't even allow that. What's happening is that the teacher will allow you into the course, create the account for you. It's like your classroom. So if I don't let you come into the class, if I come into the class and you don't belong, I can say walk out. So this is the class. Yeah.
So last one.
Yeah.
Can you personalize it as if, assuming you have a school, can you put your school logo, can you use your color template?
If you pay for it,
that's if you pay.
If you pay, it will give you, so you have mini, you have small, you have medium. In fact, if you pay for it, you can do that. Or another way is to download Moodle. In that case, because it's open source, you download the software and install it on your website. So your school has a website. I mean, if you should have a website, a domain, maybe something.com or something.edu or something. Now, if you have that, it means you have a server that is rendering your website. So you can also install Moodle in there. You see, in that case, you can now customize it. You can now customize it. I wanted to, because if I go to, we have here e-learning platform. So this at GTUC, you see this is Moodle that we have a partnership with Coventry University. So we have this platform that we've installed, and we have our name and everything on it. So once you do that, you can customize it the way you want it, or you pay for it, and then close that one. Yeah, you pay for it at the Moodle class, and you can also customize it, put your school logo and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. That's it. In fact, I know Methodist, I can't quite remember, but we have the installation on at Methodist University. It's just that they're not using it. So we have the installation. Yeah. Our time is far gone. So is there any last thing that we should look at or we should comment on before we call it a day? Okay, so for this week, all you have to do is finish the assignment. So do the assignment here, and then you come and upload it here. So here, of course, there's a quiz that's also there. So people have, 11 attempts. So I can check those who have attempted it and your score. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you get, so you try, you can get 2, you can get, I know people don't just guess, at least, but I can see that your grades here, or if you get 0, it means you haven't even done it. You want to open and then you just, once you open and you don't do it, the thing will record that you got 0. So try it and see how it works. So try to answer the questions. No, don't just click. No, that's attempt quiz. Start attempt. See, even though it's trial, it's not. Don't just begin clicking like this. And then if you do this, so if I just randomly select my answers here, but if you randomly select the maximum you might get. So okay, so this is random. You see that multiple choice, true or false, and so on. So you also be creating your quizzes as well on your platform when we come to that. So finish attempts, and then okay, answer saved. Okay, submit. So once you say submit all and finish, yeah, I see I've got 3 out of 10. So this is because I'm just guessing at random. But if you read it and then based on what we've done so far, you answer the questions. For they are not dummy questions. They are real questions that we have covered in the course, like which of the following best describes constructivism. You can answer that. So when you just randomly do it, you are going to get a very low mark. But at least it's just for trial purposes, so you can play around with that. But the assignment, make sure you submit the assignment by Friday. So like I advised the last time, just if you open, I'm sure you should have done that. Just you don't leave it. Yeah, we are talking about internet issues now. You don't leave it live online. Just copy this and then go and paste it in your document or a Word document. You don't need to have. So if I go to Word, just go to a new document and then I paste it here. So that's the assignment here. And then you can start answering it. When you are done, you can delete this. So when you finish, save it as a PDF, and then you come and upload it here. So that's what we. Yeah.
Okay, that reminds me. Are we using the template on your assignment as well?
No. I don't have any template. Just type your name on your ID. Yeah. But you don't even need, put your name, that's fine, but you don't even need to, because I have your account there. Once you submit it, you are submitting it, you log in and you submit. I know who has submitted. So, but you can put your name and ID number at the top.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then submit it. So type it any way you want. These are just the instructions here. It's just because we want it to be limited to not more than. You see, we try to encourage, you should be focused and straight to the point. We don't want a whole lot of extraneous writing. So we limit it to a number of pages that you can submit. Don't go 10 pages, because these days people don't have that attention span to be reading long things, So just answer straightforward. And I was talking about you look at the way the marks are distributed and you apportion the focus the same way. Now, the fact that this is 4 marks, you don't need to spend the same amount of time with like this. No, because this is giving you more marks than that. So put the marks in there to let you see where the focus more is. All right. So it's way past time. So let's end here. Let me end the recording.